I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and start because I like to start on time, and I wanted to start with some vintage Flippo.
Listen to the music of a carousel, the ting-a-ling-a-ling of an ice cream bell. You Alum and left the corner, those side of your own. The gents star left one time around your own. You those side of the partner with the corner, Alamand. Come back and promenade the land. Here comes summer sounds, the summer sounds I love. 4 days promenade, you go once around the ring. You swing your partner, yes, you swing that pretty Jane. You Alum and lift the corner, then those side of your own. 4 gents promenade, one time around your own. You those side of the partner with the corner, ladies swing. You swing the girl and promenade that ring. Here comes summer sounds, the summer sounds I love. 4 days promenade, go once around the ring. You swing at home, yes, you swing that pretty Jane. You Alum and lift the corner, then those side of your own. 4 gents promenade, one time around your own. You those side of the partner with the corner, ladies swing. You swing the girl and promenade that ring. Here comes summer sounds, the summer sounds I love. Circle left, the paddle of a steamboat on a Sunday cruise, the sizzle of a hot dog on a barbecue. You Alum and lift the corner, then those side of your own. 4 gents star left, one time around your own. Why you those side of the partner with the corners, Alamand. Come back and promenade the land. Here comes summer sounds, the summer sounds I love. 4 days promenade, go once around the ring. You swing at home, yes, you swing that pretty Jane. You Alum and lift the corner, then those side of your own. 4 gents promenade, one time around your own. Why you those side of the partner with the corner, ladies swing. You swing the girl and promenade that ring. Here comes summer sounds, the summer sounds I love. 4 days promenade, go once around the ring. You swing at home, yes, you swing that pretty Jane. You Alum and lift the corner, then those side of your own. 4 gents promenade, one time around your own. Why you those side of the partner with the corner, ladies swing. You swing the girl and promenade that ring. Here comes summer sounds, the summer sounds I love. Circle left, the shrieking of a roller coaster way up high. The whistles on a beach as a peach walks by. You Alum and lift the corner, then those side of your own. The gents star left, one time around your own. Why you those side of the partner with the corner, Alamand. Come back and promenade the land. Here comes summer sounds, the summer sounds I love. The summer sounds I love.
I was just going to play part of that, but I love that. Who knows? Who knows when that was when he did that? Because that was years ago. I know. I don't know the date.
Bob Dawson
He
did
did
the
not
original
record that.
back
It
in
was
the
on
early 70s.
it was on another label, McGregor or something.
Bob Dawson did it
Yeah.
way back in the early 70s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that wasn't Flippo. Flippo didn't do the original one then? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, right.
I found that today and I just thought that was just awesome. So I just welcome you all here to celebrate the year anniversary. May the 8th was the actual anniversary of when we published the book. And I just want to let you know that If you are new to Zoom, the best way to deal with it is that if you're not talking is to mute yourself. And if you, hi, Mary.
Hi, Loretta.
We just did summer sounds, so we'll do another song here later. If you're new to Zoom, the way to mute it is go to the window that shows yourself, and there should be a blue button there. You can mute and unmute yourself. We're wanting this to be interactive, so be sure and jump in and say stuff. The duration, Gary was concerned it was going to be at 3 hours or 2 hours. It's not. This is only going to be an hour. We're going to celebrate Flippo for an hour. We're going to have door prizes at the end, but you have to stay till the end so to get the door prizes, and it's all swag around Flippo. So I'll show it to you here in a minute. We do have Doc is supposed to be coming from Japan, but when we did this last year, he came a little late, so he may be getting on a little bit late.
And I am going to have to bug out about a quarter till the hour. I will have people arriving. I'm calling 2 hours of A2 tonight at my house.
Oh, wow.
To a square.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for being here.
So I'm not dormant.
That's awesome. Thanks for being here. When we did the release party last year, one of my friends said, let's set the environment the way Flippo would. And obviously he would have grabbed a glass of scotch and a cigarette and sat and visited with us. So make sure you have something to drink. And if you don't smoke, don't start right now. That's okay. But we want to honor Flippo tonight as much as possible. So it's hard to believe that it's been a year since the book came out. What we want to do tonight is share some of our favorite Flippo stories, personal stories. And then if there are stories out of the book that were favorite of yours, we'd like for you to share that too. I wanted you to know that the Flippo book has won 2 recognitions so far this year. It's a Book Excellence Award finalist, and in the ELIT Book Awards, it got a silver award. So there were 3 awards for the biography category. So it got the 2nd award. So that always makes me feel good when things like that happen. So I was thinking about how to best deal with this tonight, because I know we always have stories to share about Flippo. And last year I made 3 book trailers. I could make a lot more, and I'm in the process of making more, but I made 3 book trailers, and I wanted to share those with you as basically talking points. So we'll start with the first one, and it is a celebration of his childhood. So let's see. I don't know if Melton goes back to his childhood or his younger days. So I'm going to bring it up, and just a second here. Sorry. I'll be better on the next one, I promise. I should have had this set up differently. Technology is fun. Okay. That's a lot of food for thought. Lots of food for thought. So anybody got a special story they'd like to share?
I like somebody
You could hear me.
first, but then
Go ahead.
I
okay.
don't think you could hear me, can
I
you?
was going to ask if you had the music the auctioneer. Am I supposed to talk or is it somebody else?
So you know what, Melton is, go ahead, Mike, and then we'll get Melton on, okay? Because Melton's talking, but
Okay.
we'll get Mike first and then Melton.
I was going to ask if you had the original auctioneer, and the way he told the story is that was recorded in 1961, and he had called a dance, I believe, in Abilene, and they had driven all night to get to Houston, and got there, say 7 o'clock in the morning, and they had, most people know this story, and then he had breakfast. He went in the studio, the whole band was there. It was like in the recording days when they ran half-inch tape, and you all yelled into one microphone. I mean, guitar and banjo and singer and everybody, and they did one take and they were done. And what most people don't know is fast forward to about 15 years ago, and Buddy Weaver owns the record label. And I still had the music, and I called him and said, you know what, I'd like to make that into a modern singing call, because it was 80 beats 4 times through, and we now dance 64 beats 7 times through. So I actually, with too much time and too much coffee and a nice computer program, spent about 3 or 4 hours, and I converted that piece of music to a modern singing call, and it's available on Blue Star with that original iconic music recorded in 1961.
Awesome. Awesome. Wow. Yeah, the story is historic on how that whole thing happened. And Melton, did you, we're not seeing you, but we could hear you. So did you want to share something?
Well, I was just mostly listening. I happened to be the one who first had Flippo ever call it a dance. My dance in Cisco in 1950, I think it was. And one of his friends brought him down to the dance and asked me if I'd let him call one because he was learning to be a caller. So I did. And after it's over, the dance was over, they asked my opinion, and I didn't know what to say. I stuttered around because he was god awful, except the fact that he had a real nice voice. So that's the only positive thing I could say about it. I said, well, you guys sure got a nice voice, I'll say that. And it finally went on and went to more of a commitment of what was I really thought. And I said, well, I really think it'd be nice if you could put your foot down to the music rather than stumbling like you're walking through rocks all the time. And I said, the only thing I can know is that Herb Gregson, who was one of the early pioneers of teaching square dance callers, and I had gone to a school under him, and he had told us if you ever want to learn to call, you better dance while you're calling so that you could get the feel for it. So I offered that comment to him, and he went back to his home in a little chicken coop. They had a chicken house they had converted into a little place where one square could dance. And he started doing that. And when he came back about a month later, he was a completely different person. He really was good from that point on. That's about all I had to say, other than the fact that we're talking about auctioneer. He brought auctioneer to me because he and I used to try to halfway play the piano chords and try to write singing calls. And he came up with this auctioneer. It was all his, none of it was mine. And he brought it to me and wanted to know if I had any way of knowing how to get it recorded. And I told him I don't know of anything other than about Blue Star. And I said, those folks are using recording, maybe not on Blue Star, but on their other labels. And you might go down and talk to them. So the rest is history. We talked to Blue Star folks, and they put him on. And from that point on, he went sky high with the square dancing. So that's the true fact that how it came to be. I know that absolutely, because he and I were dear friends for a long, long time. And we spent many a time together after that. And had a lot of, and I've already told you several of those stories, but I had a lot of funny stories that happened to him over the years.
Yeah, you did. You shared a lot of great stories. I really appreciated those because I think they were great addition to the books. Thank you, Milton. Does someone else have a story or that was connected with that or anything? We can wander off anywhere. John, go. We need for you to unmute.
Look like Marvin's in his car.
Yeah, Marvin's driving, isn't he? John, we need
I
you.
am. I'm actually
Hope he
headed
stopped.
to a dance.
You're headed for a dance, huh?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
Thanks.
I finally
didn't want
got
to miss
it.
it.
Thank you. Okay, John, go ahead.
Deborah's not here to help me run this computer, so I have to try to figure it out. She's in the living room watching TV. Well, all of you know that Flippo always said more words than any other caller in the business, in my opinion. And when he was calling his patter, he was constantly saying something. And in his singing calls, he very seldom ever took a breath because he was calling with it all the way through. And as Melton said, when he first started calling, in fact, Melton's comment was, it was gosh awful. But he had no rhythm and was just couldn't find it. But Nisa talked to him, and he said that Nisa told him, I've watched you and you can pat your foot correctly in rhythm with the music. So you should learn to say something every time you pat your foot. And so that's why he used more words than anybody else all the time, in my opinion, because, and that's what he did nearly all the time with his calling, and especially with his patter calling.
Thanks.
I have one funny story I'll tell you, and then I'll quit hogging time. I'll get out of it.
Okay, go ahead, Milton.
At a dance we used to have in Cisco, Texas, in Eastland, Texas. I first heard him call in Cisco, but in Eastland, I had a club that danced in an American Legion building, and it was a two-story building. The dance floor was upstairs, and a really nice floor. And I knew the guy that was the janitor real well. So Flippo used to do what they call the Abilene Lift. I don't know anybody out there that knows what that is, maybe other than John. But the Abilene Lift was a two-step, and I wish I was where you could see it. It's a 1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2, 3. But we were only dancing at about 120 beats a minute at that time, sometimes 116 to 18. We weren't doing like we do now in the high 20s or 130s beats per minute. So a lot of people used to do the Abilene Lift, and they called it that because on the third count, they would all lift their knee up real high. Go 1, 2, lift, and a 1, 2, lift, and a 1, 2, lift, and a 1, 2, lift. You lift your knee up as high as you could while you're dancing. It was sort of funny to watch, but they did it, particularly a lot of Abilene dancers. So Flippo also not only did the Abilene Lift, but he came down hard on the floor with his heel on the next one. 1, 2, bang, and a 1, 2, bang, and a 1, 2, bang, with the heel of his boot making noise. The only problem was that they had a acoustic ceiling, or whatever you want to call it, below, in the offices below. And the next day after Flippo danced, I happened to run into the guy that was not the manager, but the janitor of the thing that kept everything clean. He said, "What in the blank were you doing up there last night?" I said, "Why?" He said, "We got stuff coming off the ceiling where somebody jumping up and down." I said, "That had to be Flippo." That's it. That's all.
It was very good to watch the Abilene dancers dance. And here in my area, which is between Fort Worth and Dallas, we did what was called the Fort Worth Shuffle. And we two-stepped the whole time. We didn't just dance on the beat of the music. We did it like Melton was saying. We did a 1, 2, 3 and a 1, 2, 3, and we were doing that constantly all the way through. And then when I saw the Abilene Lift, I thought, wow, boy. And I didn't know how dancers could do that for an entire 2.5 or 3 hour dance and still be going at the end of the dance. But they did, and they knew how to do it really well. And there was an exhibition square from Abilene that traveled all over the country doing their dances, and they did the Abilene lift, and it was very beautiful to watch. And Flippo had a real habit of when he was dancing to another caller and on the floor, he could trip himself and act like he was going to fall, and the whole square would stop and grab him and try to hold him up, and he's tripping his own self while he was dancing around.
That was Betty Casey that had the exhibition group. Betty
Right.
Casey had the exhibition group.
Yeah, Betty Casey was one of the callers that helped Flippo get started, and she had an exhibition group. She was from San Angelo, Texas.
Wow. Wow, this is new information. I've never heard of this. So that's awesome. That is awesome. Okay, you know what? I was going to wait till Doc got here, but he's apparently running late. But one of the things that Flip did was travel a lot. And so here's the trailer I did on his traveling.
Do an Alamo, an Alamo style balance there and then. Swing through, go forward till you know rocket there. Swing through the now, meet your partners, turn through. Left Alamo in that corner, then read the ring you do. Why don't you sing a song? Do, side, oh, and promenade. Don't worry that it's not good enough for anyone else to hear. Sing a song. It's promenade halfway will do. Walking in square through, four hands you do. Split both sides around, just one, make a line of four and then pass through, tag the line, face in. Slide through and pass through, trade by and swing. Swing that corner promenade. Don't worry that it's not good enough for anyone else to sing a song. And now those kids promenade halfway loaded, walking in square through, four hands you do.
Okay, so I'm sure some of you have stories about what you saw there. I know Mary's shaking her head.
Is it okay if I jump in?
Yes, please do.
Okay, so of course I saw the assigned Merrill Hall at Asilomar, and that Flip always said it was one of his favorite places in the world to call, and it was beautiful. The scenery, the dancers, Bob Osgood's methods and styling and everything. And of course, it was the highlight of my year. I could tell you in November of the previous year how many days it was until Asilomar started the next year. And a friend and I love to tease Flippo down there. And so somehow I had gotten his room key. And so my girlfriend and I would sneak in while he was calling and get up to some kind of devilment, like leaving a sardine fish in his pillowcase or fill up his bathtub with the packing peanuts, which we had saved for an entire year. And he had a bathtub in his room, and we filled that thing and his boots and his dresser and every other orifice that you could possibly find. But we got our comeuppance when he gathered all of the packing peanuts into his spare blanket, came to our room downstairs. We opened the door and we were met with a storm of all the packing peanuts that we had put in his room. So he gave as good as he got. But the very, very best one, just one more story, is that at Asilomar, they had, like at hotels, the little packages of soap with Asilomar printed on them and so forth. And we got this prank from Jerry Helt, who I imagine most of you know. And so during the year, we took the soap out of the wrapper, the Asilomar wrapper, very carefully. We sprayed the soap with shellac. And then we very carefully put the paper back on the soap. And we did it to 5 or 6 bars of soap. And so didn't hear anything. But that night he was calling the dance and he said, anybody else having trouble with hard water? down here because I just can't get my soap to foam up at all. Well, pretty soon half the floor was saying, oh yeah, we're having trouble with our soap too. And my girlfriend and I are just trying to keep a straight face. But if you ever need a good prank, that's a good one because you can't see it, you can't smell it. The soap looked untouched. It worked out really, really well. So those are two funny memories from a Lamar.
Oh, thank you.
Loretta?
Thank you. Yes.
Loretta,
Yes.
I don't know. I told John the other day, I don't know how many of you know that, but Kirkwood Lodge is no longer there. It has been completely demolished and it's just a bare hill. They just did it. Yes, Mary, I'm sorry about that. But I can tell you lots of stories about Kirkwood Lodge, and Flippo was behind most of them. I always stayed by myself, and some people had me at their room party. And when I came back to my room, I discovered that all of my shaving stuff was gone. And I thought, maybe I better find this before morning. So I found my shaving stuff and I put it all back. And then I discovered that I had cornflakes in my boots. So I dumped that out. Then I discovered that all of my shirts were turned inside out. And I thought I had it made. My bed was short seated. I got that fixed. So the next morning I get up, I think I'm doing good. Went to take a shower. And when I went to pull the towel off the towel rack, it had been sewed to the towel rack. And I don't know how many of you ever tried to dry with a washcloth, but it takes a long time. I just stood there and laughed. That towel was whip stitched tight. And I thought Flippo was in charge. Well, I think Flippo put him up to it, but I thought maybe these younger gals had done it. They had a video of it. It was the old ladies that did it. It was funny and I'll get out.
Jerry, would you tell the story about, because you were in on the gag. He was written a traffic citation driving home after a dance with you.
I might have something to do with that.
Back down to Tucson, and the whole thing is funny, and you were in on the gag. So could you tell that story?
Yeah, I was. Well, when Flippo would come up to Mesa, Shoemaker was there at that time. We always worried about him driving home because he'd fall asleep. So I don't know if Flip ever figured out what we were doing, but we'd take turns talking to him on the way home till he got back to Tucson. One night about 10:30, Gary called me. He said, don't go to bed. It's about to get better. And I said, why? He said, I was just talking to Flippo. He's out at the Florence Junction road there, and he just got pulled over. I said, oh, good, I'll wait. So he called back, and Flippo called him back, and he said, well, he said, he had gone through a construction zone, evidently did not speed up again after the construction zone. And I'm sure this cop thought he was drunk. So he pulls him over. And then how do you write up a guy that isn't drunk, that's 89 years old, and write him up? So he wrote him up for more than 15 miles an hour under the speed limit. Well, of course, the next morning, this is like a movie. So Flippo did New Year's Eve with us, and I knew a lady who worked for a law firm. So I called her and told her the details, and she sent me a court order. And it was from the attorney firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. And it had 3 restrictions on Flippo's driver's license. One was that he can no longer drive in the passing lane on an interstate. When he meets somebody on a 2-lane, he has to pull over to let them get around. And before entering a highway, he has to flash his lights and play loud music and honk his horn before entering the road. We read this to him on New Year's Eve at our New Year's Eve dance. And Shu and I thought we had this made. And he looked at Gary, and Gary had just been over to California and got stopped going through Indio way too fast. And when he did that, why, come on here. When he did that, why, he had to pay a big fine. Anyhow, Flippo, we just told his story, and Flippo looked at Gary and he said, boy, the old boy asked me, he said, what I did for a living. He said, well, I'm a square dance caller. He said, you are? He said, yeah. And he said, well, you must not be very good. And Gary said he did. He said, yeah. He said, because all the good callers just drive like hell. That's the story.
Those
And I have seen the court order myself. I'm a witness.
I still have it.
are-
I got it in my
From
briefcase.
Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. I kid you not.
Yeah, the attorney firm of Juby, Cheatham and Howe.
That is so
That's
good.
that's the law firm that Car Talk guys use, the Mariachi Brothers.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wow. Welcome, Tommy.
Thank you.
Okay, I've got another one, and this one will probably cause lots of conversation because of course one of the things that Flip was very well known for was his after parties. And so we're gonna look at some of his after parties. Oh wait, wrong one. Just a minute, I clicked on the wrong button. And Mary provided several of these pictures from Asillamore.
Now poor little lady's chain, 3/4 round inside the ring. You join your hand and circle to the left one time. Now roll away a circle to the left around that ring there. Left Allen man and we the ring. I'm kicking my heels to get her free again. I feel like me again. Do side, do that gal, and now you promenade. Now I don't have to make believe or feel the guilty conscience. Love set me free and it do feel good. Now the head two couples square through, 4 hands around inside that ring. Those below that corner about one time. Swing through, go 2 by 2, the boys run right and then do a half tag, trade, finisher tag, face to the right. Do a wheel and deal to face that 2, swing that corner, lady. Left Allen man, you want to come on back and you promenade. Now I don't have to make believe or feel the guilty conscience. Love set me free and it do feel good. Now the head 2 couples square through, 4 hands around inside that ring. Those below that corner about one time.
Okay. I know that a lot of you, let me stop the. I know a lot of you have stories or favorites of those after party skits, and that's not all of them, I'm sure, by any stretch of the imagination. Melton, you were in one of those pictures.
Yes, I hate to take this any more time away from somebody, but I got a really funny story about an after party. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, it was in Dallas, Texas at the old, I can't remember the name of the hotel, but John, you probably remember that thing where we had some square dance weekends. Big hotel, I can't remember the name of it. But big dance floor. We had an after party there. And I remember back in the old days at Kirkwood, we used to go down to the theater, and I don't remember what the guy's name was, but he was the comedian in the bunch. Anybody remember that little guy's name?
Mary does.
He went by Goofer, and his actual name was
Bill
Bill Attenborough.
Atterbury.
Yep.
Yeah, Atterbury, that's what it was. And he went with the name Cooper. Well, they used to do a skit where they had one of the other players that was his second stage, and he would try to make that guy laugh. He would do everything he could to make him laugh. Flippo would just do everything imaginable to get this guy to laugh. So I decided we'd do that at our after parties. I had this real tall guy, about 6'4", and I put an Indian headdress on him. We had one of those full Indian headdresses, and my wife fixed Flippo out with a wig type thing and just a dress that she had made like a squaw dress. And Flippo put that thing on. All he had on it was his underwear. Well, he was supposed to go out there and make this guy laugh. And I told him you'd seen that before. I said, that's up to you to make this guy laugh. His name was Jeff. I said, you got to make Jeff laugh. Jeff was stone faced. God, Flippo did everything in the world. And we had all the audience just laughing at all things he tried to do to get Jeff laugh. What he finally ended up doing, he gave up on everything else. He turned around and pulled up his squad dress and boomed him, pulled his and boomed him. I'll tell you what, it got the laugh out of that guy that time.
Don't know if you can see it, but here's the court order.
Do any of you guys have stories of working with Flippo on after parties? What was your favorite after party skit that he did? Most favorite?
Oh man, there were lots of them. I love doing the boxer with him, and we did. Oh man, I did a lot of things. That the boxer one was a lot of fun.
I like the arcade.
Yeah, Gunfighter Arcade.
Yeah, the Gunfighter Arcade. Yeah, I like that one a lot.
The Interview with Superman was another one.
Tell me about the arcade because I'm not sure I ever saw that.
Oh, that's funny.
Hi, Tom Miller.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Tom.
Hey Mike, how you doing, buddy?
Doing real good. Good report from the eye doctor. Oil's not coming out till I get back from there, but it's all good.
There's Pauline. She's driving about.
Hey, Pauline.
Hi.
Glad you guys made it.
Yeah, I was trying to get him to do this.
Yeah, we on our way home from a dance, so we thought we'd give you a quick call here. See how everybody's doing.
Awesome.
Well, until I saw who was driving, I thought maybe the cops were chasing you.
Well, if they're not, they should be.
Okay, Mike, tell me what the arcade was. We just looked at a video that I did of Flippo's after parties. So if you have a favorite after party, we'll listen. But Mike's going to tell us about one that was his favorite.
It's of course it's all in the acting. When something goes wrong, it's the funniest. But somebody comes in, and in the case when I did it with him, he was the protagonist. Came in, and so the first one is there's a guy sitting there with his arm up on a table, kind of like this, and so Flippo goes, "Oh, that's the arm wrestling machine," and so. He's like, "Oh, I won," and so he goes over now to the gunfighter. That's the setup, because I'm the gunfighter, and he wanted me to be the gunfighter because I've got that deep voice down here, see, and I'm a machine, so I'm sloped like this. What's wrong with that gunfighter? Oh, he's not plugged in. So he plugs me into the wall, puts a cord in the machine, and I come in like this. So y'all want a gunfight, do you? Pick up the gun at my feet, back up 3 paces, and draw. And so he's ready to shoot me, and he picks up the gun, he backs up, and I go 1, 2, boom, I shoot him. Now I go, so the second time, I go back up 3 paces and draw. Whoa. He said, what happened? Oh, the plug fell out of the wall. He plugs it back in and runs back and goes 2, boom, I shoot him. So every time the machine is shooting him. And so he finally rips the gun out of my hand, and I go through the whole thing, 3 paces and draw, and I've got my hand up like this, and it's empty, and he's ready to shoot me, but he has placed the gun in the hand of the arm wrestling machine, who then shoots him. And so, like any sketch, it's funny by itself, but all the things, your wrong finger gets stuck in the gun, and all kinds of kinds of weird stuff can happen. But that was that story.
Oh well. Did any of you guys have any experiences with Flippo changing the script or doing something?
Or no matter what you rehearse, that's not what happened.
Amen. Salute. Amen.
You want to keep your feet spread wide apart.
Loretta, I'm gonna have to bail pretty quick. There is one story I wanted to tell.
Okay.
Melton reminded me of it, but the first time I ever worked with Flippo, he invited me to do a week with him at Kirkwood. And I got to tell you, I'm working with a hero, an absolute one of my top heroes, and I'm just nervous as a cat. And late in the week, we're taking turns individually calling. It was me and him and Bobby Newman. And they had a break room off to the side. And we were all out there visiting, and it was noisy. Well, Bobby goes in to call, and all the dancers follow. So it's just me and Flippo sitting out there in the break room. I took a breath, and I said, Marshall, I got to ask you a question. He said, okay. And this is way before the days of the internet. So it's 30 years ago. And I said, well, I heard that when you first started calling, you went to a dance, called a tip at the dance, and the caller went up and he said to the club president, said, you might want to tell Marshall Flippo that he might want to keep driving that milk truck because he's never going to make it as a square dance caller. And I want to know if that's true. And he looked me square in the eye in a very definite voice. He said, it was a bread truck. And when I quit laughing, I had to ask him a question at that point. I said, what made you keep trying? And he says, you know what? I don't know. Nobody's ever asked me that before. Maybe it's just because somebody told me I couldn't do it.
Wow.
And I thought that was a really good vision into who he was as a person.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
I can tell you something that all you guys know. I've heard a lot of people say, boy, that guy is a natural. He was not a natural. He worked harder than anybody I ever knew doing that. Because at Kirkwood, I bet you know this, lunchtime, we always run up, got in line to eat. What did Flippo do? Stay down there and call the same record over 5 or 6 or 7 times till he had it down. And he did that with everything he did. On the few times I traveled with him, we had a little record player in the car, and he would play the darn thing over and over and over until he got it. So he worked at it more than just having natural talent. He worked hard at it.
I would agree with that. He taught me something the first time I did Kirkwood. I always like to lay a lyric sheet out in case I forget the words to a song. And Flippo opened up his briefcase, and here was a stack of hoedowns on one side and a full stack of singing calls on the other side, not one lyric sheet in anywhere in sight. And I thought, if the best caller in the world did not need a lyric sheet to call with, maybe I ought to work a little harder. I never forgot that.
I still saying, but doing them over and over and over.
What was that? Repeat that, Milton.
I said he had memorized those things by calling that record over and over and over until he had it down.
Yeah, he did.
The dancers are starting to show up. I want to thank y'all. It's been wonderful being here and seeing everybody. Thank you for the invitation.
You're looking good there, fella.
Yeah, you're looking great.
Proud of you.
Nobody told me that for a long time either. Thank you.
Well, you're looking good for what you're looking. Okay.
There you go. I like that. I'll accept that.
Glad you made it.
Thank y'all very much.
You bet, Mike. Have a good evening. You bet.
You too. Thank you.
You bet.
Take care, Mike.
Okay, Tom Miller, do you have a Flippo story you'd like to share? It doesn't have to be about.
Oh, yeah, what I'm about to say is something that's been said many, many times. Flippo was one of a kind. He was a gem without a doubt. You never knew what was going to take place when you're around Flippo. My first time that I ever worked with Flippo, many years back, he asked me what singing call that I wanted to do, and being a young hotshot that I thought I was, I told him, whichever one you want to do, that's fine with me, Flippo. I'll figure it out. And what does he do? He puts on the auctioneer. And let me tell you something. I was like a lost dog in the alley, boy, and I couldn't be found. And he just was beaming from ear to ear. And that became a big learning experience for me, because the next time when somebody asked me what singing call I wanted to do, I gave them a title, because it was a great learning experience. So Flippo taught me, you don't ask what you want to, you know, when they ask you, you give them a label, let me tell you. And when he looked at me at the part that I'm supposed to be doing the auctioneer, and he says, take it, I was dumbfounded. I mean, and he just stood there and Flippo was again just beaming, but it was, you just never knew when he was. It didn't matter. That script was going to change regardless matter if or not. So, but
You're cutting out some, Tom.
Go ahead. Yeah, I'm just honored that I had the chance to work with Flippo, as well as, you know, a lot of other guys, more times than I have. I'm just blessed that I had the opportunity to do so. He holds a special place in my heart, without a doubt.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else?
He was a special friend. He'd call, like once a week. And of course, you know, Flippo, I'd be driving down the road and I said, well, hello, Flippo, how you doing? He said, well, I was sitting on the pot and you came to mind. So I thought I'd call. I don't know how many times he told me that.
Yeah, you know, I think he called a lot of people every week. I know I was one of those guys that I got weekly phone calls from him, and it was more or less just calling up and say, hey, how you doing? I said, I'm good. He said, okay, I'll catch you later, type thing. He was on and off the phone, but I got a voicemail of his that I saved where he's telling me every possible holiday in the country or the year. He said, happy Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Easter. He went down through all of them, and he said, I hope you have a great one. I love you. And I saved that message. I think that's a pretty cool message to keep. But many of the messages or the phone calls that he gave me, he would always end by saying, I love you, and I'll see you soon. And those kind of things, you always have a place in the heart for the guy. That will never be taken away. I got those memories.
I agree. He never said goodbye. He didn't say I love you, Jerry. It meant a lot.
Yep. Funny guy.
Okay. Lynn, did you have something you wanted to say?
Well, I just wanted to piggyback on something that Mike said. He reminded me when he said he was really nervous that first time with Flip. I remember a few years ago, I mean, I never did a skit with Flip, but a number of years ago in Laughlin, he did his I Don't Look Good Naked Anymore. And of course, it brought the house down. And a lot of people there had seen it many times before. It was special for me because it's the first time that I had seen him do that. But I was really nervous because one of the people that was organizing the after party asked me to participate with Mike Seastrom on the Casey at the Bat routine. And Mike was the face and I was the hand, so nobody saw me. I was underneath the sweatshirt right behind Mike, but I had a lot of ad libs, some of which I threw in that were not in the script. And I was nervous doing it, number one, because Marshall had already done his and brought the house down. And I was just nervous to begin with, even though I wasn't going to be seen. Well, at the end of it, one of the fellows there said, "Hey, Marshall wants to talk to you." And I thought, oh no, I screwed up. What did I do? And I went over to him and I really was nervous. And I said, "Okay, Marshall, what went wrong?" And he looked at me and he said, "No," he said, "nothing went wrong." He said, "I just wanted to tell you that I have never seen better timing on the gestures that you did. And the couple of ad libs you did were absolutely priceless." And I just heaved a sigh of relief. I mean, this was praise from the master, and it really made my night. So that's just one of my memories of Marshall. I mean, like other people, I have others like him flipping me off, walking across the floor in Indio, and some other things like that, which I'm sure the folks here can relate to. But that was a special evening for me and a special memory of Marshall.
Thanks, Lynn. Thank you. Anybody else? Fred and Luann or
Hey, Loretta.
Yes, dear.
Loretta, I'm sorry to bother you, but I need to skedaddle out. I'm going to be losing here shortly. So thanks for the invite. I'm glad I had a chance to see everybody. So see everybody soon. Sending my love your way, guys. Be safe.
You bet. Thanks. Good
Take care,
seeing you.
Tom.
And Pauline, love you guys.
Bye.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Take care, Uncle.
Fred and Luann and Tommy, we haven't heard anything from you or Alan. So if you guys want to jump in before we wrap it up.
Well, we aren't callers, but we're longtime dancers, and we danced to Flippo and loved it. But Loretta, I just wanted to tell you, my favorite part of the book were how you wrote it like Flippo talked. And that just made it for me. I mean, there were a lot of good parts, and I especially enjoyed reading about Jerry and Gary and Mike and everybody that I know that called with him. But how you wrote, how he talked really made it special, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I can tell you, may I tell you a story?
Yes, John.
One night, he was calling for Melton over in Fort Worth at the General Dynamics Recreation Center. And I went to the dance. And I was dancing in a square that was close to the front, close to him. And he had us in an 8-chain through formation, and he called a Pass the Ocean, which put us all in a tidal wave all the way across the square. And I was on the end of the wave closest to him. And he said, "In boys trade." And just as I got to the other end, he said twice. And I didn't crack a smile, and I walked right straight up to him and I said, you realize we have open carry here in Texas. The next time you will die.
I love it. Oh, I love it. Marvin and Tommy and Alan, do you guys have anything you want to add to the mix?
Just that I've danced with him starting back in the 70s, and always had a great time. The skits at Indio were part of the best parts of the whole weekend every weekend. I do remember a little story from Gary Shoemake. was kind of funny to me. I still remember it. They had these little fuzz balls that had feet on them and eyes and stuff. They're about the size of a quarter. And Gary used to walk around with one. Gary, you there? Gary
No,
on the call?
no, he wasn't able to
Yeah.
make it. He was supposed to, but he wasn't.
That's too bad. I remember someone walking up and asking, what was that thing? And he said, that's Flippo with all the shit knocked
It's
out of
8
him.
o'clock.
Say it again. Say it again. My computer tells the time. So say it again. The punchline.
He said that was Flippo with all the shit knocked out of him. Little fuzzball on his shoulder.
Oh no.
That was at Rocky House back in the 70s, and I still remember it.
Oh well.
Fuzzball.
Awesome. Well, you know, we are going to have some door prizes here, and I'm going to show you the door prizes, and then you can tell me. I'll go down the list on the winners, and you can tell me which one you want. So there is a bag. There is a there's a bag with the cover, with the Flippo cover. There is awesome. This was Flippo's favorite picture with Bob Fisk. Do you guys see that picture? Are you familiar with that picture? That was his favorite. And the part that, do you know who this is? Spidell.
Bob Fisk, Flippo, and Bill Spidell was the one you pointed out.
Right, that's Spidell, and he was telling him a joke. And you know what's really fun about this picture? Do you know who this is? Jerry, do you know who that is?
I do not.
That is Daryl Lipscomb's dad.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Daryl told me that. But anyway, there's a collection of coasters. There's a notepad with one of the original covers that Flip and I were talking about, but we didn't use. And then there's a deck of cards. And then there's an opener, a can opener with Flip and Gary Shoemake on the boxer. So the first winner is Luann Elliott. So Luann, which one would you like? And I'll put you guys all have my email address. You'll email me your address so I can mail it to you. But which one did you want, Luann?
Yeah. Probably the deck of cards.
Okay. Okay. The second one is Mary.
Let's see. How about, I would probably get a lot of use out of that bottle opener.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Thank you, Lorraine.
You bet. The third one is Rich Stewart.
Who, what?
Yes, you're one of the winners.
Oh, no. Choices?
Which one?
Choices?
Oh, the coasters?
What's left?
I was trying to get a picture that Dean Singleton has on his website.
Oh,
that
I
he's
know.
selling.
Yeah, I was going to bring that
Yeah,
up.
have you
but-
seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it. The six doves. Has everybody seen that?
Yeah.
Has everybody seen that? Does everybody know who Dean Singleton is? If you haven't seen that, if you're on Facebook, go out and check Dean Singleton from Arizona's website. He is a phenomenal artist, and he drew a picture of 6 callers that have died, and he's got Flippo in the center, and then the other 5 on the side. I was thinking about showing that too. It's amazing.
Let me share my screen because I got it up.
You have it up? Okay. Yeah. It takes a minute to.
Oh, you've disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay.
You have to enable.
Let me see if I can do that with you. Spotlight for everyone, allow to record. I can't do it from here. I do it from the preferences, so it's not going to happen.
Oh, well.
Well, everybody needs to go out and look at that because that's really amazing. Rich, which one of the leftover do you want? Do you want the notebook or the coasters or the bag?
The Notebook.
Okay. Okay, number 4 is Tommy.
Oh my goodness.
And so Tommy, it's either the coasters or the bag.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we just can't
Oh.
see you.
Oh, I know. I've got a weird computer. The bag.
Okay. So Tommy is the bag. And so Marvin, you're the last winner, so you get the coasters.
Okay.
So everybody that was a winner, please email me your address if I don't have it. You probably know if I have it or not. And guys, you know what? I really appreciate your participation tonight. I know lots of people had emailed me and they're getting back into the dance world and had commitments tonight. But I appreciate the fact that you took time out of your evening tonight to celebrate with me, because I felt like, man, we really needed to celebrate a year of the release of that book. It was life-changing for me to have the privilege to do it. And I just really, I wanted to celebrate it. I hope you all do know that 10% of the sales are going to Color Lab. Flippo was adamant that he wanted no money from the sales. And so I said, okay, let's do something with a part of it in your name. And so, and John and I worked with Dana Schumer at the time and decided how it was going to be done. So I just think that's a good thing to do with that. I would like to end, and many of you, I was shocked when I asked Flippo what his favorite song was, being a good old cowboy. I thought, well, for sure he's going to pick a good old cowboy tune, and he didn't. He picked one that was the one that he loved, show tunes, and so this ended up being his favorite song. So we'll end with this.
Circle of the left. Oh, every street's a boulevard. Oh, New York. Every street's a highway to my left Alabama, that corner. Do it on side road you're on. 4 ladies promenade that ring. Till they get back home. Well, home you go, no side over. Left Alabama. You wanna come on back and promenade on down. There's the east side, the west side, the uptown and down. Oh, how I'd like to be in New York town. If you square through, 4 hands around you go. With a collar lady, do a go side of the. Now start through the Flutterville, you roll it round and then sweep the water. Then when you do, go right on left through, my friend. Look back through, square through, it's 3/4 round. Swing your corner promenade. Well, there's the east side, the west side, the uptown and down. Oh, how I like to be in New York town. If you square through, 4 hands around you go. With a collar lady, do a do slide do. Now start through the Flutterville, you roll it round and then sweep the border. Then when you do, go right on left to my friend. Up back through, square through, it's 3/4 round. Swing your corner promenade. There's the east side, the west side, the uptown and down. Oh, how I'd like to be in New York town. Circle left. Oh, every street's a boulevard in old New York. Every street's a highway to my dreams. Left Alabama, your corner. If I don't side, know you're on. 4 ladies promenade that ring till they get back home. Well, home to go to side over left Alabama. Then come on back and promenade on down. Yes, there's the east side, the west side, the uptown and down. Oh, how I'd like to be in New York town. The side to square through, it's 4 hands you go. In the corner, lady, do a go side. Now start through the Flutterville, you roll it round and then sweep the border. Then when you do, go right on left through, my friend. Up dive through and square through, it's 3/4 round. Swing your corner promenade. Well, there's the east side, the west side, the uptown and down. Oh, how I'd like to be in New York town. Side to square through, 4 hands around you go. With a collar lady, do a do side of. Now start through the Flutterville, you roll it down and then sweep the door, then when you do, go right on it through, my friend. Look down through its square, through its 3/4 round. Swing your corner promenade. Yes, there's the east side, the west side, the uptown and down. Oh, how I'd like to be in New York town. Circle left. Oh, every street's a boulevard. Oh, New York. Every street's a highway to my dream. Left Alabama, that corner. Do the old side of your own. 480 promenade that ring. Till I get back home. Well, home to go to old side of left Alabama. You wanna come on back and promenade on down? Well, there's the east side, the west side, the up, down, and down. Oh, how I'd like to be in New York town. Oh, how I'd like to be in New York.
Okay, dears, thank you so much for a lovely evening. Make sure that you, if you were a winner of the door prizes, you get me. I have most of your addresses, but if you think I don't, make sure you connect with me. And, you know, because of the restrictions, the way I sold the book was basically online. You know, that was the only way I could sell it. With dances and stuff opening up, we're going to have opportunity to sell more. So that's exciting. So if you have an event that you would like to make sure that I come and sell books at, let me know. And I'm going to be putting together a book tour of some sort, and I'll be out there selling these lovely books because I believe they need to be out there. John, you're okay. Bye. See you later. Good seeing you. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Loretta, for sponsoring.
Sorry.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you,
Night,
Loretta.
all.
It was
Thank you,
wonderful.
Loretta.
Jerry, it's
Take
good to
care, fellas.
see you.
Good
Yeah,
to
it's
see
good to see
everybody.
Love
you.
you.
Good to see everybody. Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Oh, I love it.
Hey,
I love it.
Loretta,
Yes.
just hold mine. You can give it to me when you see me at the,
Okay. Okay. I'll hold it and give it to you at the dance hall.
or put it in my closet.
Okay. Sounds good. I will do it.
Loretta,
Yes,
the
dear.
gal called me today. We talked.
Oh, good. Good. Good.
Kelly.
Something good.
We
Awesome.
talked today.
Okay. Good.
She
Awesome.
seems to be real nice.
Awesome. You
Okay,
all,
thank
you bet.
Thank
You
you
all,
for your help.
you bet.
Bye-bye.
Good
Bye.
night, everybody. Good night.
Good night. Thank you, Loretta.
Oh, you bet. Thank you all.
Good job, baby.